How's it going, y'all? This is McFrostyBoy, and today I'm bringing you 3 tips and examples showing you how to outplay any enemy in Apex Legends. This is my first content video, and it's here because I've gotten so much from Apex Legends, starting as a complete bot at the end of Season 1, and eventually soloing to Diamond and Ranked Season 5, and I want to give back to the community I love so much. If you'd like to see more of this content, please like, comment, and subscribe below. Every little bit helps me reach more of the community. Finally, if you'd like to hang out or get your gameplay reviewed, you can join your fellow Frosty friends on my Twitch stream or in our Discord server using the links below. Alright, let's get right into the tips. The first tip is to read what your enemy is intending to do and to figure out how to counter their plan. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to give yourself enough time to think. In situations where time is tight, fast enough and good enough plans can help carry your squad through to the win. You'll get faster and more accurate with your reads and counter strategies over time, and soon you'll be putting your enemies on Reddit with your Galaxy Brain plays. Lifeline broken.
Right here.
Rev broken. Rev has a Mastiff. This clip is a great example of how reading an enemy's intent can help wrap up a fight more quickly and efficiently. We're going to go through this example one step at a time. At the start of this clip, we have Wattson clearly retreating into the center of Harvester. I apply pressure using the grenade to tell if they're trying to hold or peek that corner. I don't see a reaction, and I don't see Wattson peek again around the corner, so it's pretty unlikely that the team or Wattson individually is trying to turn on us using that particular piece of cover. We then see Wattson running across the bridge into the next building. She doesn't stop to look at us, she is just straight booking it. People usually only do that when they're separated from their team and feel like they're about to get jumped. This means it's pretty likely that their team is trying to set up in that building. It's a pretty strong position, especially with Wattson in play, and it can be hard to push from the center of Harvester if they're the first to get the angle inside that building. It's at this point that I start thinking about alternative ways to approach this squad. The nearest alternative route is the yellow pipes, but they're super exposed. It's likely that the enemy squad would cover that option, and even though I'm Wraith, I don't think I'd be able to make it across without spending my Void Walk. If I want to go that way, I'm going to need some way to make it harder for them to see or stop me. Thermite grenades are great for this purpose. So when I get confirmation that the enemy is trying to counterattack from that building, I'm immediately able to react by throwing the thermite grenades and begin to approach after burning one of the enemies. Like a lot. Oh my god, broke one. I'm approaching. I reach the end of the pipes and can see a Wattson and her beautiful pylon sitting inside the building. She's focused on the center and not even looking at us, so we immediately shoot her and use the half cover of the ledge instead of getting into full cover by the side of the door. It would have been better in this situation to headshot her, but I was honestly expecting to have more enemies inside the building looking at me and to have to start shooting immediately to cover the rest of my approach. Lifeline broken. After making a pro level callout, we take the side of the door and we see the Revenant moving towards the other door. He's making it pretty obvious where he's going next, so we set up a pre-aim and punish the Revenant with another not headshot. Also, as a side note, my cover usage here isn't great since my full body is exposed. Probably using the side of the door or the pylon would have been better options. Our teammates reach the enemy using an Octane jump pad, and I know that this is going to divert the enemy's attention away from me. I decide to take the risk of continuing to fight with low HP and keep shooting at the enemy. After a flawless side jump, I close distance with the Wattson and out-aim her to finish cleaning up the enemy squad. Wait, you got all the kills? The second tip is to identify what errors your opponent is making and to punish them for making strategic errors. This tip kind of has 2 parts. The first is to identify the error. You've probably picked up on stuff that's quote-unquote bad to do, and the more you play, the better you'll get at identifying mistakes. At the end of the day, you should always be watching like a shark. This leads into the second part, which is punishing the misplay. The great thing about Apex Legends is that it doesn't really matter if you make mistakes, unless you get punished for it. On the flip side, if you observe an error and do not punish it, then you've basically let the enemy do something that is good for them, like reposition for free. Punishing errors is usually pretty simple. Shoot them. A lot. like in the face and stuff. Okay, maybe that's oversimplifying. The way you abuse your newfound advantage is always unique to the situation, but generally, the sequence of events ends with the enemy having significantly less HP and just being overall less happy about their situation. In this clip, the star of the show is Loba. All members of the team were making the same error, which was getting too spread out when making a map transition. Unfortunately for her, we decided that Loba was the one who was going to pay for it. At the start of this clip, we see Wraith running a portal across open ground for her team. Loba decides to exercise her right to move about freely and follows the Wraith out into the open. After Wraith drops the portal, she just keeps on going. Classic Wraith mains. So the error here is that overall, this team is spread out a lot. Wraith gets further and further from her portal. Loba still has a bit of a ways to go to enter either the portal or better cover, and the third is still mucking about at the other end of the portal. We open fire on the enemy Loba. At this point, the options available to this team are not great. Loba can return through the portal fairly damaged, but this means that whatever happens at the other end of that portal, Wraith is going to be late. The second option is that whoever is in the portal comes through, and Loba keeps going to join Wraith. But Loba just got lit up next to the portal, and there's still a little bit of space that their third would have to cross in order to arrive safely in the next major piece of cover. So, their options are to further divide the squad or run the risk of taking excessive damage out in the open. The enemy goes for option 1, and Loba makes her way back into the portal. We continue to abuse our advantage by dropping down to the other end of the portal and maintaining pressure on the Loba. Loba, feeling the need to follow up one error with another, decides to attempt to take up a forward position without healing. This further isolates her from where the Wraith could come out if she took the portal, and as it turns out, they're crypto as well. I was not personally anticipating this stroke of, whatever that was, so I'm already underneath her position and out of her zone of coverage. Since I can't really challenge her right at that moment, I leave her to my teammates and shift my attention to punishing the other enemies. Since Wraith is going to be late through the portal and Loba can't shoot me, Crypto is also more or less isolated and has drawn the short stick. Crypto feels the need to assert his close-range dominance and decides to fight an automatic weapon at mid-range using the Mastiff. The error here is pretty obvious, and it is more or less tipping his hand and letting us all know that he has a Mastiff instead of using his other weapon to kite us into the building where his Mastiff would have been more effective. In this case, the punish is pretty clear, which is to not break from cover and push, which I honestly was considering because I just wanted to push my gun in his face, and to use the R301 at its actual effective range. Everything beyond this is just cleanup and a faithful rendition of the classic story, Wraith abandons her team after being too far away from them. Which is crazy because I've definitely never done that. The last tip is to exploit patterns and change up your options when fighting an enemy. We all have patterns that we fall back on under pressure, and top players will exploit your patterns or bad habits. That really great head glitch you have can become a huge liability if the enemy has a read on you. By changing your options, it forces your opponent to consider the additional option in their decision making. To compensate, your opponent has to either guess what you'll do next, or just be slower overall to react to your next interaction. Effectively, by changing up your options, you can apply pressure without even firing your gun.
Come on, Pathfinder. Alright, Pathfinder down. This stupid Crypto with his goddamn... There we go. Spitfire. Yeah, it's just lifeline, just lifeline. Yo! They did it again!
This fight starts right off the heels of a prior fight. We have very little total HP to work with, which ultimately pins us into a corner. Short of using Voidwalk, I don't have a good way to move out of the corner and open new lines of fire on the left side of this fight. Additionally, by Voidwalking, I'll be telegraphing to the enemy that there is one less sightline being covered by my team, and it places my teammates into a 3v2 situation. It may only be for 4 seconds, but 4 seconds can be long enough for the enemy to close distance and punish the rest of my squad. In our first interaction with the enemy, we try to peek and duck back into cover in reaction to the Pathfinder shooting at us. At this point, the Pathfinder has watched us peek the corner once and has likely told their team, preparing them for another peek. Instead of peeking again, I try to find an armor swap and then pause for a moment before resuming my attack. If I had immediately re-peeked the corner, I probably would have been punished for playing into the enemy's read. The enemy team shifts gears and throws grenades, forcing my teammates further away from me. Probably believing that I was about to die to the thermite grenade, the enemy shift their attention to the left side of the building. With their attention off me, I'm able to heal and close distance to apply more pressure to the enemy. This takes us to our second mix-up with this squad. First, I choose to peek the right side of the cover in order to open the widest angle on the enemy and hopefully force them out of the cover. I need to reload and I re-enter cover. Instead of peeking the right again, I instead peek the left. My aim doesn't exactly pan out, but it's enough to get Pathfinder to push, which I can punish even as I back into the cover. I peek the right side of the cover again, which prevents a read by the lifeline if she was watching the left side. I've now alternated peeking on both sides of this cover, and I'm worried that the enemy has picked up on the pattern, but I might have an opportunity to exploit this. The crypto elects to push the left side of the cover, which I would go to next if I continue to alternate sides. Instead, I climb over the top of the cover, an option which I have not yet exercised this entire interaction, because it is slower and more obvious than peeking the sides. This clearly surprises the crypto, and given the delay in lifeline shots, also surprises her, giving me the half second needed to empty the rest of my mag and trade with the crypto. From that point forward, it's just my teammates putting in some hustle and tag teaming the weakened lifeline, which ultimately wins us the fight. So overall, the theme connecting these tips is to know what the enemy is thinking and trying to do. It's not some arcane process, and again, being fast enough is usually more important than perfectly knowing what the enemy wants to do. That wraps it up for this video, so thank you so much for watching. I want to help you all improve at Apex Legends, and I need your help to get this content to people. So like, comment, subscribe, hop in the stream, join our Discord, riot in the streets, I don't care, whatever it takes. Thanks again, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.